Tell us what happened.
No.
We just wanted to tell these people the truth.
I know you didn't mean to do it. We know you didn't.
But B, I'm asking you to do this.
Everything I told you that happened is true, but
Tell the truth, son.
I'm on safety. But I'm on the trip. That's not sure.
It's okay, son.
The flash of gunfire lit up the dark St. Petersburg street for just seconds. Officer David Crawford never saw it coming. As the veteran cop approached the suspicious teenager on that February night in 2011, Nicholas Lindsey Jr. made a decision that would forever alter both their lives. 5 shots rang out. A 25-year police veteran lay dying on the pavement. A 16-year-old boy ran into the shadows. Where are you watching from today? Drop a comment below. I'm curious to know who's following this shocking case. What drives a teenager to murder a police officer in cold blood? And what happens when that same teenager thinks he's gotten away with it? Nicholas Lindsey Jr. believed he could escape justice after gunning down Officer Crawford. He was wrong. Within 24 hours, karma would begin its relentless pursuit. From his tearful confession to his infamous courtroom smirk that enraged a grieving community, Lindsey's path from that fatal night to a life sentence unfolded with stunning speed. This is the story of a split-second decision, a fallen hero, and the justice that followed. If you value true crime that doesn't hold back, hit that subscribe button now. St. Petersburg, Florida, February 2011. A coastal city known for its pristine beaches and vibrant art scene was instead shrouded in grief. The community was still reeling from an unimaginable tragedy. Just weeks earlier, 2 police officers, Jeffrey Yaslowitz and Thomas Batinger, had been killed in the line of duty during a standoff with a fugitive. The police department was wounded, the city in mourning. Into this raw, emotional landscape stepped Officer David Crawford, a 46-year-old veteran with 25 years of dedicated service. Crawford wasn't just any cop. He was known throughout the department for his expertise in handling domestic violence calls, a skill that required both compassion and courage. To his fellow officers, he was a mentor. To his family, wife Donna, daughter Amanda, stepdaughter Patricia, and his beloved grandchildren, he was their rock. What time is it where you're watching? Let me know in the comments. Meanwhile, in another part of St. Petersburg, 16-year-old Nicholas Lindsey Jr. moved through a different reality. A teenager with no significant criminal history, he was at that pivotal age where decisions begin to shape a life's trajectory. His parents, Nicholas Sr. and Deneen Sweat, were ordinary people who would soon face extraordinary circumstances. The paths of the seasoned officer and the teenager should never have crossed in violence. But on February 21, 2011, on the corner of 8th Street South and 2nd Avenue South, their destinies collided in a moment that would shock the entire state of Florida.
And after becoming suspicious of her own child, once the surveillance video was made public, Deneen Sweat says she and the boy's father convinced him to confess.
I don't know. I have a problem with my child going to school. Never this. Never this. Never this.
It makes it harder, I think, knowing that we lost a kid, and we did, but he'll have to pay those consequences.
And Mayor Foster told me today he did speak with Officer Crawford's family since that arrest, and he says as devastated as they are, of course relieved that there was an arrest made last night, and he is now hoping that arrest and also Lindsey's confession will help.
The evening of February 21, 2011 began with a routine call. At approximately 10:30 p.m., Officer David Crawford responded to reports of a prowler in the neighborhood. Residents had spotted a suspicious teenager looking into windows and possibly attempting to break into vehicles. Crawford, working alone, arrived at the scene and spotted a young man matching the description, Nicholas Lindsey Jr. What happened next would later be pieced together through investigation and Lindsey's own confession. Crawford, following protocol, approached the teenager. He didn't draw his weapon. There was no reason to believe this would be anything more than a standard stop and question. The veteran officer likely expected to check the teen's ID, ask a few questions, and either send him home or take him to the station. Instead, as Crawford approached, Lindsey pulled out a handgun. Without warning, he fired 5 shots at the officer. Crawford, who wasn't wearing a bulletproof vest, was struck multiple times in the chest. He collapsed to the pavement, fatally wounded, never having drawn his own weapon. If you're finding this story as shocking as I did, hit that like button and subscribe for more true crime cases. In the chaos that followed, Lindsey fled the scene. Panicked and desperate to cover his tracks, he ran several blocks to Booker Creek near Tropicana Field, home of the Tampa Bay Rays. There, under the cover of darkness, he tossed the murder weapon into the water, believing the evidence would disappear forever. As Officer Crawford lay dying on the street, Lindsey returned home, likely believing he had gotten away with murder. But in a city already mourning 2 fallen officers, the full force of law enforcement was about to descend. The hunt for Officer Crawford's killer had begun, and Nicholas Lindsey's freedom was measured in hours, not days. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Within minutes of Officer Crawford being found, the St. Petersburg Police Department mobilized every available resource. Blue lights flooded the streets as officers secured the crime scene and began canvassing the neighborhood. This wasn't just any homicide. This was the 3rd officer killed in less than a month, and the department was determined to find the perpetrator. Detectives worked through the night, collecting witness statements and surveillance footage. By morning, they had a description: a teenage male, approximately 16 years old, wearing a hoodie. The breakthrough came when a witness recognized the suspect from school and provided a name: Nicholas Lindsey Jr. What's the weather like where you're watching from? Drop a comment below while I continue this shocking story. Less than 24 hours after the shooting, police arrived at Lindsey's home. What happened next revealed the crucial role his parents would play. Rather than shielding their son, Nicholas Lindsey Sr. and Deneen Sweat made the agonizing decision that would change everything. They encouraged their son to tell the truth. "You need to man up and tell these people what happened," his mother told him, her voice firm despite her breaking heart. This parental intervention proved decisive. While investigators gathered evidence, including searching Booker Creek for the discarded weapon, it was the parents' moral stance that ultimately led to the most damning evidence of all: a full confession from the teenage killer himself. In the sterile interrogation room, Nicholas Lindsey Jr. sat hunched over, a far cry from the figure who had pulled the trigger just hours before. With his parents' encouragement weighing on him, the facade crumbled. Tears streamed down his face as the reality of his actions seemed to finally hit him. "Mom, Daddy, I'm sorry," he sobbed, his voice barely audible on the recording that would later be played in court. "I just started shooting."
Of a possible neighborhood prowler, a 16-year-old, Nicholas Lindsey, is the suspect. Police say his parents brought him in last night and that he did confess. It isn't the first time the boy has been in trouble with the law. Police say he does have prior arrests, but nothing violent, mostly property crimes.
It's hard. Even though this is a 16-year-old kid that we're discussing, he still murdered a police officer. He'll be charged tonight with first-degree murder. He will be staying with us for a few more hours before he's transported. He will be transported as a 16-year-old to the Pinellas County Jail, as far as I know at this particular point, but be held there as a juvenile. It'll be up to the state attorney's office ultimately how he's charged and how he's prosecuted.
The confession unfolded in painful detail. Lindsey admitted to approaching Officer Crawford with a gun he'd recently acquired. When questioned about why he fired, his answer was chillingly simple: "I got scared." He described pulling the trigger repeatedly, watching the officer fall and then running away to dispose of the weapon in Booker Creek. If you're finding this case as disturbing as I do, make sure to subscribe for more true crime stories that expose the darkest corners of human behavior. What made this confession particularly striking was how it would later contrast with Lindsey's courtroom demeanor. The tearful, remorseful teenager from the interrogation room would transform into something else entirely when facing justice, a transformation that would shock the community and potentially seal his fate. The boy who had broken down crying, begging for his parents' forgiveness, would soon become the defendant who smiled and smirked during testimony about Officer Crawford's death. a behavioral shift that prosecutors would point to as revealing his true character. The trial of Nicholas Lindsey Jr. began in March 2012, just over a year after Officer Crawford's murder. The Pinellas County Courthouse became the stage for a drama that captivated national media, with ABC and CNN covering the proceedings. Inside, the evidence mounted. The confession, witness testimonies, and forensic details all pointed to Lindsey's guilt.
Crawford was murdered. Detectives say 16-year-old Nicholas Lindsey shot Crawford at close range at least 4 times as the officer approached him. Police say Crawford managed to return 6 shots, but none of them hit Lindsey. And today, Lindsey's father made a tearful apology for his son.
On behalf of me, my son, and our entire family, we send our deepest condolences and sympathy to the family and his colleague that he worked with. It's my only son, and I'm sorry that it happened.
The teen's family was in court today for his first appearance. Lindsey will not face the possibility of execution. In 2005, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled the death penalty is unconstitutional for anyone younger than 18.
Sir, are you here with him?
Yes, sir.
And you are?
Yes, Father.
Okay, and your name?
Nicholas Lindsey Jr.
Okay, same address?
No, I'm at a different address.
Okay, if you want to ensure that you receive notice, then what I want you to do, the sheriff is going to give you a form that you can fill out where you'll receive all the court notices. We'll continue to send them to Mr. Lindsey's primary address on 15th Street. And his mother, is that Miss Sweat or Sweet?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you're the father. Okay. The public defender has indicated they have spoken to Mr. Lindsey.
But it was Lindsey's own courtroom behavior that became perhaps the most damning evidence of all. As prosecutors described Officer Crawford's final moments and showed crime scene photos, cameras captured Lindsey smirking, while Crawford's widow Donna and daughter Amanda sat grief-stricken in the gallery. The teenager appeared unmoved, sometimes even smiling, a stark contrast to his tearful confession. "Where are you watching from? I'd love to know what part of the country or world is following this case with me." This demeanor ignited public outrage. What many might have viewed as the case of a scared kid who made a terrible mistake transformed into the image of a cold-blooded killer without remorse. Editorial pages across Florida debated, was this a sociopath smirking at justice or just a terrified teen putting on a brave face? The jury wasn't swayed by defense arguments. Lindsey was convicted of first-degree murder and initially sentenced to life without parole. But karma works in mysterious ways. In 2012, the Supreme Court ruled in Miller v. Alabama that mandatory life sentences without parole for juveniles were unconstitutional. By 2016, Lindsey was resentenced to life with the possibility of review after 25 years. The teenager who thought he'd escaped consequences now faces decades behind bars before his first chance at freedom in 2036, when he'll be 41 years old. The smirk that had enraged a community may have cost him dearly in the eyes of future parole boards who will review his case. Officer David Crawford's legacy lives on in St. Petersburg. The 25-year veteran is remembered not just for how he died, but for how he lived, with dedication to domestic violence victims, mentorship to younger officers, and devotion to his family. The police department established a memorial in his honor, ensuring his sacrifice won't be forgotten. Meanwhile, Nicholas Lindsey Jr. continues serving his sentence in a Florida state prison. His life with review after 25 years means he'll first be eligible for parole consideration in 2036. Whether he'll demonstrate the remorse and rehabilitation necessary for release remains to be seen. If you've found value in this true crime story, please hit that subscribe button and share this video. It helps the channel reach more people interested in justice. This case stands at the intersection of several complex issues: juvenile justice reform, police safety, and the capacity for redemption. The Supreme Court rulings that affected Lindsey's sentence acknowledge that teenage brains are still developing, capable of change, Yet they balance this against the need for justice when crimes are particularly heinous. For the Crawford family, no sentence could bring back their loved one. For the Lindsey family, their son's actions created a lifetime of consequences, a stark reminder that split-second decisions can permanently alter countless lives.
We're interested in getting that gun back for a lot of reasons. Yeah. You know what I mean? So what we're going to do is...
Long time.
Yeah.
So, man. How you doing? Long time. I'm doing good now. I got a win license now. Take care of some people.
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna be in my group. I'll take care of him.
He's asthmatic.
Okay. Does he need a breather?
He has a nebulized.
I mean, is there one at home?
Yes.
All right, we're going to be a couple minutes. Write my cell number down.
Okay.
And
we'll get rid of his phone.
Yeah,
I got it right here in my car, my cell's on it and everything.
Yeah. Call him and we'll make sure he gets it.
Okay, he has medicine at home.
Yeah.
I can get something to eat.
We'll get you something.
We'll get you some. We'll get you a burger or something.
We want you to point to the area of the gun. The family wants you to do that as well.
Exactly.
Officer Pete's going to go ahead and take it.
We know him. We've been knowing him for years.
The hard part is over with, okay? The hard part is over.
We're not going nowhere.
Be strong. You'll be okay, okay? All right. You got your mama.
Okay.
Mr. Lindsey, I appreciate it. Good.
Sit down.
We have to put these on you, okay?
That's all I want.
Mr. Sweat, I appreciate your cooperation. Not many parents are doing you did.
You know, keep him out of the camera light.
We'll get the best we can. We got to understand it's going to be.
There's so much we can do with that. They're actually following us around out there.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine.
If you want to, and then we first.
Front.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, just step out here. I'm gonna search it. Nothing on you.
Joe. We want to go. They're good. Ride or are they ride?
Nicholas Lindsey was charged and convicted of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The Supreme Court later ruled that